Hello everybody, my name's Nectanebus and welcome back to my channel, and unfortunately, I do have some bad news. So, my parkour map that I created on Manicube has been rejected, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just that there were a few things that I didn't realize about the parkour maps that they have tightened up, like the restrictions that they've tightened up a lot. What I was doing basically is I was kind of like copying the kind of parkour maps that I've seen and the kind of parkour maps that I've played. I kind of based it around that, and I thought it was okay because it fit within the regulations because I played a lot of maps and there's a lot of these type of maps out there, but apparently they don't accept these maps anymore. So like the reason they rejected this map. So there were two criticisms. I mean, they liked the theme of the build, but the two criticisms basically were the build was pixel art and it didn't have a main build, so the parkour was kind of floating around the build, and apparently they don't accept floating parkour anymore. I mean, like there are so many parkour maps that they have that are floating parkour, and I mean, even if they change the regulations, I guess it would make no sense to take those maps down. But like apparently they don't accept floating parkour maps anymore. So like any parkour that is floating, like this, floating, you can't have that. Floating can't have this, can't have this, can't have this. Because most of my parkour is floating because it's around the builds, not on or inside the builds. And I mean, I guess I can kind of see that. Maybe I've seen both types of maps. Like if you go on their adventure maps, I've completed 2 out of their 5 adventure maps, and it's like mostly floating parkour, and it's like because there are so many of their maps and so many of their important, more like distinguished maps, like their adventure maps, have parkour like this. I assumed it would be okay, but apparently not. Apparently they're a lot more specific about their regulations. They're just a lot more particular. They're a lot more restrictive than they have been in the past. So the regulations have changed, and it's become a lot. And the regulations have changed a lot. It's become a lot harder to make a build. So like, there's not very many. So now, obviously, apparently, there's not very many types of builds that can get approved. So can't have pixel art, apparently. So they don't want pixel art. So if I'm making a model of something, if you're making a model of something, if I'm making a picture, if I'm making that, can't have that. It needs to be, and if I don't want to make any build, I can't have that either. It has to have a build, and the parkour has to be on the build. The parkour cannot be around the build. So I mean, obviously it's pretty restrictive now. I mean, they're not allowing very many types of maps. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because they've had a lot of floating parkour maps in the past, and now they want to balance it out with map like very specific different types of maps that they're allowing, so it's not just one type of map as it has been in the past. Maybe that's how it is. So basically, like, the whole premise of me like building myself in Manicube, it doesn't work. They don't accept that because, one, I mean, like, the build I did is floating parkour, which they don't allow, and two, it's pixel art. So even if the parkour was around the builds and inside the builds, I still don't think they would do it, because I mean, this is not just an object. This is like, it's not just an object like a pot or a blender or something else that people have put in. It's actually like a statue of things. It's actually art. It's actually meant to like look, not to function. It doesn't fit within their regulations, and it's like the whole purpose of, and it's like I can't build myself a Manicube basically, because it's pixel art. So you cannot play this. You will not be able to play this. There's no amount of modifications I can make to this current build that will make it be approved, which is that's honestly disappointing because of the amount of hours and time that I have spent on this and the amount of grinding I've done to make this possible and to try and get a parkour map of my own out there. But yeah, so I'm just gonna have to, if I'm gonna decide in the future to make a parkour map, it's gonna have to be very specifically something of a build. I don't know, it might be a me thing build, like a Nectanebus theme build, or like, it's gonna have to be a lot different, and just modifying this in any way, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to just delete this one and I make another one, and that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna delete this plot. But all the work that I've done will stay on YouTube, and there'll be a record of it. So there'll be a record that that all my hours of work at least existed, even if they can't be available for everyone to see. If I ever do make another parkour map, make sure you subscribe with notifications on so that you'll be notified when I do ever possibly make another Manicue parkour map, which I might still do because I think it's a great idea to have a map out there for people to play. But anyway, that's going to be it. I'm disappointed, but it is what it is. I mean, it's hours of work, but I'll delete it. There's no reason in having it around, and it'll still be in videos on YouTube for everyone to watch. So thank you everybody for watching, and have a nice day.